So here we are with another fabulous free workshop at the Tarot Guild, and we're doing birth cards and soul cards today. And of course, our fabulous instructor is the one, the only Pamela Steele. Hey, Pamela.
Hello.
So if you're not
How's
familiar,
everybody today? What? Yeah.
oh, I was
How
going
are
to
you
say,
doing
if
today?
you're not familiar with Pamela, you know, she's a fabulous tarot author, teacher, deck creator. Go ahead, spill a little bit. Tell us about Steel Wizard and everything.
Oh, Steel Wizard. Actually, I began drawing the images for the Steel Wizard in October 21st, 1999. I finished on June 21st, 2000. After a very long series of stuff, ended up selling my house and self-published, and the deck came out July 31st at 5 o'clock p.m. on July 31st, 2007. And next year sometime, we're kind of discussing a release date. It's going into its third edition with Shipper. I'm pushing for borderless. I don't know how it's going to work, but the book's been completely redone. So this time people will actually have a book that is functional that they can use. I've also got the Wizard's Pets, the ABCs. It's a Rider Waite clone, but it's got dragons and no naked people and
anything
no
with
dead
dragons,
people.
I'm there.
Yeah, yeah. And most recently, we have the Eternal Seeker Oracle, which is kind of what got me ticking on this birth card thing, because let's face it, the major arcana only goes to 21, right?
Right.
Well, the Steel Wizard, because I've got extra cards in there, goes to 27, which is a little better.
A little
but
better.
Then I was working with somebody in their birth cards, a couple months ago, and he just asked me, he says, well, what happens if, like my birthday's on the 30th? And I said, well, why don't we use the other deck? And he said, what other deck? And I said, well, we'll use the Eternal Seeker because it's got 33. And he went, okay. And ironically, because the numbering got it's a 33 card oracle, but it's based on the major arcana of like the Rider Waite / Steel Wizard major arcana. And so what happens is I also did reversals with that one. So, anyway, but when you're doing birth cards, soul cards with that, you can get some really interesting readings, because I had to go through, I didn't have to, but I chose to go through. And after about, from the beginning to the very end, all the numbers have been reassigned pretty much. I've added cards here, there, and yonder. So it really does make a difference. And that's why I've recommended to people who so designer, they say, well, this doesn't really resonate with me. And like my birth card, soul card is kind of, I'm not. Try your favorite oracle deck. Pull out your oracle, and as long as it's got numbers, you need those numbers. Then you can actually have a really close look, an in-depth look on a soul level, because we're shifting and evolving so fast. I mean, things are changing so quickly.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about the soul card aspect, because when you said that, that was new to me. We had Pamela on the radio show, Tarot Today Live TV show and radio show now, simulcasting. And we talked briefly about soul cards and birth cards, kind of just to prep everybody for this workshop. And your angle on it is very interesting, but we also want to teach the original tarot way of doing it for those of us that are more familiar with that, and then also for those that are completely unfamiliar with birth cards, that we get the whole shebang in there. Yeah. So I think
exactly how we're doing it. We're gonna stick to what we know first.
Good.
But what I'm saying is that there are, don't limit yourself.
Right.
Don't hold yourself back. Okay.
Right. But I wanted to ask you, before we go into anything, let's tell everybody what a birth card is and what a soul card is, because I feel there's people out there that have no clue what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a whiskey tango foxtrot. Okay. What it is if you take the numbers of the year that you were born, it's either going to start with a 1, 9 or a 2, 0. or you're really, really old, and we're not even going to talk about that. But you add the numbers of your, there's several ways you can add the numbers of your birth year, your birth month, and your birth day together. And you're usually going to arrive, well, you'll always arrive at least at a two-digit number. If you do arrive at a single-digit number, that is a combination of your birth and soul card. But generally people have two. And if the number is 21 or less, then you can find a corresponding card in the major arcana. This is your soul card. So say like if you're okay, if your number when it's all added up is 12, okay, you've got the number 12 right in front of you, because your birth year, your month, and your date all added up, and you've got a number 12 there. Well, you've got the Hanged Man, okay? Now, there have been times that if you arrange and add it differently, you can get maybe 21, but stick with 12. It's just easier and it functions better in the long run, okay? Anyway, you're gonna end up with a double-digit number. And this is your birth number, because this adds all of the numbers of your year, month, day together, okay? And then what you do to get your soul number is add those two numbers together. So you would add the 1 and the 2, giving you 3, which is the Empress, which is your soul number, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions? So far, so good? Okay. But that's what this
I
is.
was on mute. I'm sorry. I just got off mute. No, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Okay, so when you reduce, and if you get a number 21 or lower, which you could correspond then to a major arcana card, that's the birth card. And then when you further reduce to a single digit, that's the soul card.
Yes. Okay. It's the simple way to put this is a double digit is a birth card. A single digit reduction is a soul card. There will be times that you'll add it up and you might only get a 9 or a 7. You'll get a single digit. That is your birth and soul card. There is a very rare occasion when you can get 3 numbers, and that can, no, but you know what? I actually scouted through a lot of books and websites, and I wrote all of this down for you in that handout, because like some of it's from the tarot school. Let me see where else. Bonnie Chauvet's book. I'm sure I listed the credits. If I didn't, bad me, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did, as recommended reading. Because Bonnie Chauvet's got an excellent book called Tarot Birth Cards in You. Okay. And it does list all of the pairs, and these pairs, like what they mean and how they evolve, and how you can work with them.
And Pamela,
yes.
Before I forget, I have to mention this, because talk about synchronicities, and that's all that seems to happen around tarot and our radio shows, the Tarot Today Lives, the workshops, the guild itself, synchronicity all over the place. And unbeknownst to us, a while back, Maria had scheduled Bonnie Chauvet to be her guest on her new show, The Angelic View, today. And she literally wrote the book on birth cards.
Yes,
as did. You just showed. So it just floors me, the synchronicity.
Yes, I saw that, and I went back and listened to it this morning, because Bonnie happens to be a very, very special dear friend of mine, and
it was a great episode. Wisdom.
Oh my gosh, you don't know how many times she's written a blog and posted a bunch of questions. She wrote all the questions to ask yourself for the Wizard's Pets Tarot. She's brilliant for that. How many times I've taken those questions and turned them into a tarot spread because I needed to know. She's amazing. So yes, get her book and read it. Mary Greer also wrote one called Who Are You in the Tarot? It's a little bit more involved, but to get started on birth cards, soul cards, and the basics, the beginning, go with Bonnie's book. because that's exactly where it's going to take you. It's going to start with showing you different ways to add the numbers up. Like I said, double digit columns like 1950, or say you were born in 2006, 2006, and so on. And your birth month is March, so 0, 5, 3. Sorry, brain. Okay, 0, 5, 3. I'm thinking May. My husband's is May, and so I keep thinking May. And then you would go with the day that you were born, maybe the 21st. So it's 2, 1. So you would have these, 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, double digit numbers to add into a single. Okay. And that's how you want to keep it simple as possible when you're getting started. So when you are looking at making friends quickly, maybe you're at a party or a gathering of some kind, and you would like to say, hey, sit down, let's have a look at this. And we're doing 15-20 minute readings, $20 you can't, or $40 you can't miss, whatever. Usually I'm 40. And they sit down, and that's the first thing. Hey, when's your birthday? Give me your birthday. Oh, well, I don't want to. No, just tell me the day, the month, year, and day you were born. So you add up their numbers, and you've got exactly what you need in front of you. Say, okay, here's the cards we're looking at. We're looking at this card and that card. And these are the cards that represent, this is the card you were born with. This is the card that your soul brought. Okay. And you would be amazed at how many people who say, well, I don't believe in any of this. And I just tell them, that's okay. They don't believe in you either. Sit down. And they do, which works. Okay. So, but as far as adding the numbers up, yeah, you can use a calculator. I don't care. They're always really impressed though if you can sit down and just jot the numbers down and add them up in your head without goofing too badly, in theory. But questions?
I was going to suggest real quick here, to make it even easier for you. Also, there are birth card calculators online on many websites. The very first really was the one at the tarot school.
Yes.
I have that up right now, and I can share
Good.
that. So I'm going to share this real quick, and this might help people a little bit. Are we seeing, is everybody seeing that?
Yes.
Okay, so I already put my date in there. I'm June 16th, 1964. You hit calculate, and I'm the Devil and the Lovers. And when I was first introduced to birth cards, I had never heard of a soul card, and I was introduced to them as your birth card pairs, that everybody had a pair of cards. And there is a couple of well, actually there's one instance where you get there's 3 possibilities, and I can give my thoughts on that. That sometimes when you do the calculation, you'll get something like 19, and 1 + 9 is 10. So then you got the 10 card, but then 1 + 0 is 1. So then you got the 1 card, Magician, right? And I noticed on the website here, you can go to get more information. I love this. You click on this here. They even have a whole course on the Tarot School website for this. But what's nice is when you click for more information and go on this page, it has them all listed, and you can just click and go and read about it. But it has all the numbers already on here, so you can use the calculator, or the way I do it is I just write down the numbers in a line, because I'm faster adding that way than up and down. So I just do it that way. And so like I'm June, so it'd be 6/16, 1964. And I just go 6 + 1 + 6, and you just add across, you get the double digit, add them together and get a single digit. Or if you still get a double digit, keep adding them together, you get the single digit. Then you come over here, and let's say you got 4. Well, you know that your birth card pair is Death Emperor, like that. Here's some of the one, or here's the one, the Sun, the Wheel, and the Magician, where you get 3. And it actually depends on how you're doing the reduction in my mind. Like, I think there's just pairs in my mind. And the way I would do is if you add your birth date across and you get 19, I'd reduce down to 1, and my pair would be 19-1. If you add it together and get 10, then my pair would be 10-1. That's how I like to do it. I don't like to have the 3. Because when I was first introduced to this, and oh, hold on, before I forget, let me go back. Gosh, hold on a second, because things are getting blocked here. I can't even get the back arrow to go back. Okay, here we go. I wanted to let everybody know, so you can see at the top here, it's tarotschool.com/calculator.html. And I also think it's in the links over here somewhere, but that I just wanted to tell people where that was so they can go try that out. And the way I saw, the birth card pairs as a doorway, I'm thinking of like the pillars on the High Priestess and the Justice card.
Yeah.
And the cards kind of frame, and that's where your soul is birthing through from, between those two cards. And it's the dynamic of those two cards. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. And let me turn off the screen share here and take it away, Pam.
Well, technically, yes, because these cards are, for all intents and purposes, read together. It's like when and this is a great way, again, how you can introduce people to tarot, or if you're new to it yourself and you want to get more comfortable with it, start doing more of this, because it's a guidance system. All right. If anybody has ever looked at palmistry, for instance, okay, we'll use palmistry. I remember somebody told me one time, one of these master palm readers, she said to me, "Let me see your hand." And I, said, "Which one?" She said, "Both of them. This is the one you were born with, and this is the one you create." And I went, "Oh, snap, I get it." Okay. Whereas with birth and soul cards, the reason it made more sense to me was because this is the toolbox you were born with. This is what's in your toolbox. Okay, so you open it up and you've got hammer, and you've got some nails, and you've got, whatever else in there, like you've got a little measuring tape and whatnot. And you think, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to be a carpenter." But yeah, your skills as a carpenter, no, not so much. But perhaps you're going to be using that to open a gallery and hang paintings. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to apply the tools in your toolbox. Whereas the soul card, in my humble opinion, tells you how that you have chosen to manifest your destiny. That's why I do it that way. Okay.
That sounds great. So, and by the way, everybody here, I don't know if you want to wait for questions at the end, or if you want people to jump in.
Let's do it now.
If you have a question, jump in. But maybe an example would help a lot. Like your own, you have to be intimately familiar with your own, birth card, soul card. Maybe you can give us an example, what yours are, and what's that dynamic, and how it has been reflected in your life.
No problem. My birthday is July 7th, 1951. Yes, I'm old. And 1951 reduces down to 7, as does the 7th month and the 7th day. So I've got 3 sevens, which technically is 21. But when you add them in the columns, like they really recommend that you do, you got 12, which makes a lot more sense to me, because I don't want a birth card for the world card. That just, the biggest issue I had was when I opened that toolbox and I got to looking at it. If anybody who really knows me knows, I don't have control issues. I never have. I don't care who does it. Just go for it, or how they do it. But I do have authority issues. So when I had the Hanged Man as a birth card, wow, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to just stand back, but this is my toolbox. So I'm going to learn to work with it one way or the other. It took me until about 7 years ago. And of all things, I was working on the deck, the Wizard's Pets, which is like cartoon dragons and fun stuff, you know, whatever. And as I started to draw the picture for the Hanged Man, for this introduction tarot, this beginning tarot, I was looking for a something, like for keywords, anything that I could use that didn't sound like, oh, just let it go. You know, like, no, I'm not going to let it go. I need to know why I'm letting it go. I need to know what I'm replacing it with. Well, the song that started, it's old Beatles, so well, Paul McCartney songs start playing in my head. Let It Be. That's what it was. And it began to play. And I mean, when I hear that music in my head, like most of us, it's just not going to go away. And it did. It played over and over the whole time I was working with this image. And by the time I had everything blocked in and ready to go and was starting to color and all this, it made so much sense. I have to know when to stand my ground and just let it flow around me. And I have to know when to forge ahead. I need to learn how to not let go, but when to let it flow and when to slow it down, when to speed up. When I had to learn that, when to let it just be. And in doing that, I had to learn how to just be. Always in a hurry, like Yoda. No, I had to learn that. So learning to just be in the moment was one of the most profound, amazing things I ever did. It was just wow, you know. And after that, it became seamless. It was a simple matter of just stepping back and saying, all I have to say to myself is, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm right here, I'm right now, and being present is what's so vital, and that's what I had to learn. And those numbers, 12, reduces down to 3, the Empress, which is essentially, in my opinion, the cornucopia of life. And it is, in my opinion, again, my purpose here is to, and it's always been this, is to make it a better place than I found it. Clean it up a little, shape it up. Been that way since I was a kid, and I knew what I was doing then, but I didn't understand the why of it. That's where the birth card comes in. The why of it is being present. Being is as important as doing. In fact, it's more important than doing in a way. So if I'm going to be this cornucopia that is going to help replenish, rebuild, mother, produce, help, then I have to learn how to just be. Who wants to go next?
Anybody?
I will.
Okay.
What would you like to ask about?
Which
Oh,
one?
sure.
Which one is the birth card and which one is the soul card? I'm getting
Double digit.
confused.
Double digit is the birth card. Single digit is the soul card.
Okay. Card and soul card.
And one thing I'd like to bring up is applications, because I mean, there's probably people watching that are thinking, okay, cool, but what, why, you know? And there is so many great ways that you can use birth cards. You brought up earlier, Pamela, like you're at a party, something like that, you know, and if somehow it comes out that you're a professional tarot reader, I mean, instantly you're the most popular person in the room.
Oh yeah.
But rather than getting bogged down in doing readings for people and things like that, when people, you know, find out and then they want a taste of it, instead you can just do their birth cards. So
it's like an astrology thing.
yeah.
What's your sign? I go, what's your rising sign and what's your sun sign? You know, if you ask somebody those two questions, most people know, or at least they know their sun and their moon. And so you're able to kind of get a very general, I mean, mine doesn't fit. No, everybody's always, you can't be, no, that's not you. but my moon sign it all makes sense. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's more than just this. It's this and that. It's that blend. And did
So
we lose
when,
Sharon? Did we lose Sharon?
oh, we lost Sharon, maybe. I don't know. But so what I was thinking also, if you, oh,
You
she's
didn't
back.
lose me. You didn't lose me. I'm just gonna go get something to drink.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. People will be popping on and off because they're doing things. What I was thinking was, so like if you know numerology,
Yes.
then and I always say that the life path number in numerology is very similar to sun signs in astrology. So if it comes up at a party or a gathering, you can ask them their birth date, you can find out their life path number. If you know the numerology, you can talk about the life path number is the single digit. So you get down to a single digit. And then, so I'm a 6 life path. So you talk about the 6 energy. And then you can also then do their birth cards too, and it take a few minutes and boom, do somebody else. But that way you're not getting bogged down in doing whole readings or mini readings or what have you, because they just figured out that you're a professional tarot reader. So that's one way it's really useful. Another way is just added value. I'm always about added value for reading. So somebody's paying for a reading, and that's great, just doing the reading. But when you can add value to it, I always say, over deliver,
Yes.
what their expectations are. So I do a full numerology chart, for instance, and I calculate it all out. I write it up. I do it manually by hand. I don't use a computer generated one. I do it myself. And then I create a PDF and I send it off to the client before I even meet with them, unless it's
Mhm.
one of those, fast ones where it's like, okay, yeah, I'll jump on a session with you right now. And then I just ask for their birth date. And then I get a lot of numbers from, not the whole chart, but I get their life path, their attitude, what personal year number they're in, their personal year cycle, and things like that. That way I'm adding value. Well, birth cards are an added value too. If you don't want to do numerology, don't know numerology, don't like numerology, you might want to add astrology. Maybe, I'm like the opposite. I tell everybody I'm not an astrologer, but a lot of people are more drawn to that. So add that as your added value. Well, birth cards is another thing you can do. So before you even start doing the reading, what's your birth date? You calculate it out, get their birth cards, pull them out of the deck, show them their birth cards, and talk about that, and then go into the reading. So there's a lot of ways you can use this.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sharon, did you get everything figured out?
Oh, I went to the tarot school.
That's the
fine.
way to do it.
Mine is 14 and 5. Temperance and the Hierophant.
Mhm.
Am I
Oh, two of
pronouncing
my
that right?
favorite cards too.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. I mean, what does it say to you that you have temperance as a birth card?
Temperance to me is balance and patience.
Temperance is also blending,
Okay.
the inner and the outer aspects.
Mm.
Because when you really think about, it's also about harmony, okay, between the inner and the outer life. So if you're born with that in your toolbox, you go, girl. Because when it does break down to 5, which is the Hierophant, Hierophant technically, in my opinion, is tradition. Okay. So your ability to blend old school, new school, past, present, all of it into a single functioning unit, that's your sole purpose, as it would be if I were doing the reading for you. If I were seeing, if I, see the Hierophant there, because tradition is one thing. I mean, it's kind of what we've all based our lives and our civilizations on, is either a tradition, but not usually just one. I mean, because okay, you look at North America, we are a huge potpourri slash stew slash whatever you want to call it of cultures and people and end to end. I mean, I don't know a single family that is not multiracial, multicultural, multi whatever. I mean, everybody I know has got ties to everyone else. And like where I live, there's over 100 languages spoken. So, but it's a blending, okay? And that's how I can see where temperance would really serve you well, in the fact that openness and that acceptance and the ability to bring harmony to the situation, added to gathering, like, I mean, well, for instance, if I hadn't moved to where I live now, I would have never known about pierogies and my life would be very sad. So what I'm saying is you gather from different cultures, different bits and pieces as you're forming new traditions. Okay. So that makes sense. Now, do you have any questions on that, or?
Oh, what about the Hierophant though?
That was it. The Hierophant. He's tradition.
Oh, the tradition. Okay. I must have, I thought you were just talking about the one card and I didn't hear you shift.
And that blends it all together. That's how it blends all together.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Yeah, I was kind of thinking things along, tradition, but also, like religions. And I was thinking, well, somebody that has a 5 as one of their birth numbers, and therefore the Hierophant, that they might have either be drawn to religion or have issues with it.
I have both.
There you go.
I'm very drawn to it, and I do have issues with it.
There you go. What about Ellie? Ellie, what's your birth cards?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine, very apropos for, I call myself Ellie the Moonchild. I got the Moon and the Hermit. So
how perfect.
Super Cancerian energy, I kind of feel like. Yeah.
Love your cards. Love your cards. Because the Moon, okay, when I was first learning tarot, this nice little Hungarian lady told me that the Moon is the card of the psychic. If you draw the Moon card, then that's your latent talents unfolding. And I thought, all right, I mean, Cancerian, you're definitely a Moon child, right? So it makes perfect sense. And the Hermit, okay, the Hermit holds up the lamp in the darkness. If you think about it, the Hermit is the wisdom of the, but there's something else I've learned about the Hermit over time, and that is the Hermit is the light in the darkness. Okay, the Hermit is the light at the end of the tunnel. You become that light. You don't just hold it up. You are that light. So that's where the Moon, that is really doesn't have its own light source. It can only reflect what the sun's giving it. Correct?
Yeah,
okay.
And I love them as a pair then, because okay, this is what's reflecting, and then the Hermit is what's giving off the light.
Yes.
Never thought of it that way though. That's really great.
Pretty cool, huh? So do you have? Go on. What?
Oh no, I was just agreeing. I was like, oh, that's super cool. I never thought of it that way, but now that I'm looking at the cards, especially the way that they're laid out on the site, the Hermit is facing this one's pretty cool.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
Yep. I love this stuff. I really, really love this stuff. Did Mary? No, she's fading in and out on us, but I'm hoping she put something in chat. Come on, Mary.
I'm here.
Okay, you are here. And
yes.
your cards are
Emperor and Death.
Oh, nice. Not
Oh.
Okay, let me show you something. Let me show you something. So you've got, let's see.
Sounds so merry.
Or and Death. And Death. Okay. This is the card that I switched out for the Death card when I did the Steel Wizard. Okay.
Oh,
it's called.
Hey,
I like that. It's called Transition. Because honestly, when I started reading tarot, one of the real things I really didn't enjoy doing was when the Death card came up, having to peel someone off the stupid ceiling saying, no, you're not going to die. Get back down here. Because I'm reading for a grad class, and you've got 200 people that, oh, they all want their cards read. And because they're making such a huge change, they're going from their parents' house to the big wide world. Some of them are going to university. Some of them are just going to go to work. This is where you're going to get the death card, or somebody's getting married. Huge changes. I mean, because you're leaving your single life, as it were, and you're going to be sharing your life with your, hopefully, your life partner. So there's multiple reasons, multiple circumstances and situations where you're going to get the death card, and explaining to them that it just means that you are basically breaking out of your crystalline cocoon and emerging into your new life. Well, let's give her a butterfly wing or two, just to make sure that people understand it when they see it, that no, you're not going to die. I love the traditional death card. I think it's awesome. But by the same token, when we're bringing tarot to the world, there's
Oh yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
make certain concessions, and I'm going to move my
You-
pointer because it was right over Dax's face and he had a hand over his nose.
Oh, I was just thinking of something that a really cool name to rename it would be like Chrysalis instead
That
of
would be,
Death
that
card.
would work too, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
Butterfly,
I love that
Definitely.
card.
Chrysalis.
But and then when you've got the emperor, I quit thinking about the emperor as that stodgy person that's like governing and being all serious. A few years ago, I'm still, well, 20 some odd years ago, and I was still living out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, working with the emperor card one afternoon. I'm sitting out, and I had a grove of antique willows that were behind my house, and a huge pond, and I built a 7-foot waterfall, and I was there and thinking emperor. What am I missing? What am I not seeing in the emperor card that I should be seeing? Because there's this strength there, there's this solidity to it. There's something so grounded. Bingo, grounding. Oh gods, it's the elder gods. Whenever you're working with the emperor magic and the emperor energies, you're working with the elder gods.
Ooh, I like
And
that.
what better way to do that than if you transition
Oh yeah, that's a good.
from your current paradigm into what you're being offered.
Okay.
That's-
I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it a little
I
more.
like it.
But
Thanks.
isn't this a great way to start a session with somebody, especially if they're new to tarot and they've never been they're not familiar with the cards at all. They don't know what they mean, or they've seen a few TV shows that say, oh, well, I know what that
Yeah.
card means. No, you don't. No, you
Well,
don't.
yeah, because that's what they always say. It's like, oh, I wish I've seen tarot. I wish I knew what these meant or whatever. I mean, look, I think it's just a way to sort of make it work like astrology. Let them see themselves in it. Like, yeah, you're a part of this deck.
Oh,
It's a
that's
good
what I was.
selling point.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing about the how it's connecting them to the deck, where they get a couple of cards from the deck, and suddenly it's not this other thing. The same thing with astrology. Everybody knows their sun sign. A lot
They
of people
should.
know their rising sign. And it just it makes it a little bit less mysterious. It's like, oh, I see how that works. And what I love about birth cards, of course, being the numerology guy, is that it's bringing the numerology in too. You're doing the calculations, you're seeing how the numbers connect with the cards. And that's why I like starting readings out with at least some of their numerology. Maybe I won't have time to do their full chart, but I'll at least do their life path and their attitude number and their personal year number. And then with the life path, that is one of the 2 birth cards right there. And then you pull the birth cards out, and I haven't been doing that in recent years, but I think I need to get back to doing the birth cards too, because then it gives them something visual. And then there's this transition between, here's your numbers, birth cards brings the tarot in, and then you go into the tarot reading.
Well, too, like back in 2000, when I was finally starting to really kind of put my toe in the tarot community after I'd already been reading for 20 years. I mean, I just didn't see the point, and I didn't know anybody else. And when I got to INATS that year, because it was INATS in Denver, somebody asked me, what's your purpose here? What is your goal? What do you plan to do with this deck? Like talking about it was just pictures of the Steel Wizard. And I said, well, what I really plan to do eventually is to bring tarot to the world. So it's a household word, like out of the closet and into reading it in the daily paper, like you do your horoscope right now. And she looked at me, she said, well, that'll never happen. And I said, oh yeah, well, I said, because if it's my idea, I can pretty well guarantee that thousands of other people have the same plan. And over the last 20 some years, tarot is becoming a household word. Sharona, we haven't done yours yet.
Yeah, I'm an 11 too. So I'm a Justice High Priestess.
Justice High Priest. Wow. That, and I love that because like Dax was talking earlier, you've got pillars in both cards.
Yeah, I'm seated. I'm both cards. I'm sitting between.
Yeah. And it's that strength. I mean, Justice. I absolutely do love that card simply because it's a non-judgmental. It's someone that takes people at face value. And plus you got to remember, I mean, 11 is kind of a master number. So, but because of the way it's positioned, it's which deck was it that had it switched with the strength card, and Justice was number 8.
That's kind of the old. It was Wade who was the main one that switched the strength card with the Justice.
Thank you. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, and then then there's the big controversy. Which way do you go?
Well, I like it being number 11 because of the pillars. Okay, that's
It makes so much more sense to me.
Yes, thank you. It
Just
really
why
does.
you did it. Well, what's interesting is I also do astrology, and I do find that the birth cards, they do line up with astrology, believe it or not, which was probably one of the reasons why he switched Justice with strength. But I just want to throw out another thing. Generally, I find that when I meet people for the first time, I always reduce the numbers because the cards that go 1 to 9 are kind of nicer cards. I always like, if someone like say Emperor Death, it freaks them out, but they don't mind Emperor. So when like say I'm meeting someone and it's the first time, I'll say, and I like the word calling it your soul cards. And then I'll say, there's more that you can add to it, because in the beginning, when I used to go, oh, you're the lover's devil, then it kind of like their mind, they heard the devil. Of course I have friends like the devil, but Emperor Death and even Chariot Tower are kind of freaky cards. So I just kind of, at the beginning, I only do the ones that go 1 to 9. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially if you don't have a lot of time either, because if you have more time, you can ease their fears, in a conversation. But if you're at a party and you're just like, well, throw out your birth date, and you go, okay, you're a life path 6, the lover's card, and just stop there. You don't need to do the pair.
Well, they can book you for an appointment. You can say there's other cards too, but we're keeping it simple because we're only talking.
Oh yes, always do a lead in.
Always.
Sharona's got this stuff down.
But no, I love that. And then plus the fact that, you've got the High Priestess there, which is the delving into the Oracle. I mean, that's what she is. She is the Oracle. She's the one that goes to the worlds beyond and gathers the information and brings it back for the peasants and the peons and everybody to enjoy. Yes.
I'd like to go back to that, the 2 and the 11 briefly, because when I try to explain it, why I like the 11 for justice and 8 for strength, I look at it from a numerological aspect. Okay. So 11 is a master number, and it's the master illuminator number.
Yes.
It fits with justice because you are illuminating, you are lighting the truth, you are showing justice. And with strength, see, 8 is abundance in numerology.
Mhm.
And real abundance comes from our inner strength. In order to make any progress and to create more abundance, you have to step outside of the garden. You have to make a leap of faith. You have to step out of your comfort zone, think outside of the box. All of these are things that come from inner strength. So for me, it fits the strength card so much better, you know. But I love that as the 211 pair, you know, out of all the birth cards, the ones I like, those two, because it illustrates that point. It also illustrates from numerology the master number, and then when it's reduced, 11, 1 + 1 is 2. And then my personal birth card pair, you know, I love it. but
Yeah.
but also for everybody else, because what's really cool, at least with the Waite Smith deck, is you can, with those particular 2 birth card pairs, I mean, that those 2 cards in that birth card pair compared to all the rest, you can really see it. You can really see it. I mean, it's virtually the same card, you know.
Yeah.
You can see, you got the one upside down. You can
Okay.
but you can see where it's the same 2 individuals, you know. Here's the lovers with Adam and Eve before they've left the garden, before they have left Eden, with the tree of knowledge, tree and tree of life. And then here they are in the physical world. And you know what we know of the devil card, how you can become attached materialistically to things. You know, that's because you've moved out and you're living in the 3-dimensional realm, you know, the realm of material. And it just illustrates how the birth card pairs work, really, you know.
Yeah, but Dash, think
visually.
about, I mean, seriously though, the devil card is not necessarily a bad card. Okay.
No, not at all.
Like, it talks about temptation, it talks about attachments.
Mhm.
Okay. But say if you are working, the devil card comes up and you have just taken on a role as a caregiver for somebody's kids that they were injured or killed or something, and all of a sudden these kids, you're going to stick to those guys like glue. I mean, your attachment to these could show up as the devil card because you have literally ingrained your life with these children, not your own. You see what I mean? There's all kinds of circumstances where that materialistic attachment wouldn't be viewed as something negative. It would be something just, sure, why not? You know?
And that's why I always come back to showing people the Waite Smith version, because it's just so brilliant. I mean, you know, nothing against all the other all the other decks out there, including your own, you know, which are visually stunning to do readings with, you know, like I'm a fan of Ciro Marchetti's decks, but
big time.
But it just visually shows you it. So as you're explaining about the, you know, the attachment, you know, right there visually, brilliantly, Waite, you know, Arthur Waite and Pamela Smith have put, by the way, I've never noticed till this moment that you have the same name. Anyway, that's how dumb I am. I don't put 2 and 2 together. very frequently. But I do in the cards because, oh my gosh, it's visually right there. It's showing you,
Yes.
number one, it's not the devil. It's not the
Nope.
devil. Look at how the creature is created. It is a construct. It's got
Angels and demons.
it's
Okay.
got bat wings, and it's got goat head, and it's got raven or whatever bird legs.
Yeah.
It's got the torso of a human, and then the lower half of, I forget what it's supposed to be, some other animal. It's a piece together
Mhm.
construct. It's not real, and that's
Nope.
the thing they're getting across. The other thing is looking at the chains that are holding them bound to this half cube that the figure is standing on. The two humans have the chains, but they can just easily grab the chains and go like that and just
Mhm.
take them right off. So it's an attachment of their own making, and they also can release themselves anytime they want, and it's all right there visually in the card.
But you have to look for it. And I mean,
Mhm.
that's just it. Most people they don't look, they're not seeing. And I think that's part of our
Mm.
job as tarot readers is to open their eyes and really get them to look at, be here now, look at what's in front of you. Don't look over there. No. You look right here. You don't need to see that. These are not the droids you're looking for. These are what you're looking for. And
Yeah.
just get them to really look.
Well, for those that have eyes to see, another example in that same card is the figure that is not the devil. It's a construct. He's holding a torch, and he's got it pointed down, and there's a tail coming off of the male. Okay. Now, most people, they look at that and it's, they're thinking torture chamber, look at this, he's burning his tail. In reality, what it's showing is the exact opposite. It's showing that the devil has no power whatsoever, that except for what you give it. And so it's actually the flame from the tail of the man that is igniting the torch that the devil figure is holding. So it's the other way around. We give them the power, and
Yes, we
so
do.
one of the things that's often associated is addictions. We give addiction the power. It's not the
That's
other way
right.
around.
That's right.
Awesome
And
sauce.
I think that's really a very good analogy. Very much. Yeah. Because
See, you learn so much. You come for birth cards and you learn all this other stuff.
but that's the whole point. It's never just a single path. I mean, it's like that. Well, there is only one mountain, but there's infinite number of paths leading up it. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that we can each be on our path. We can be serving our purpose and fulfilling our destiny, if you want to call it that. And yet we can still exchange ideas and be part of a larger community that,
Yeah.
well, let's face it, it's global. So why not?